Good morning, okay, 8:34. Happy Monday to you. If you need a real estate team that can take care of you, no matter the season of life you're in, whether maybe you're buying your first home, maybe you've got 20 in the portfolio and you're looking what to do with the next generation, Jay White and the team at Centralina Realty can help take care of you. CentralinaRealty.com. Check them out. Jay White joins us this morning in studio. How you doing?
Greetings from the north. I come
from the North Country.
Yeah, I came down in my flannel today. I've got some cut firewood in the back of the truck.
Hilarious. Jay White, Centralina Realty, CentralinaRealty.com. Since last time we chatted, because we're talking monthly here, anything new in the market that has just changed it upside down, or does it still feel like the same kind of stance we've been in, almost like this kind of pause holding pattern? It's
kind of a stalemate right now, isn't it? Where pricing's kind of still high, rates have dipped a little bit. So that's encouraging. Although if everybody dives back into the market, the prices will go back up. So, it really is kind of a stalemate. Putting a positive spin on that, though, it's a good time to buy or sell. So, really we can represent both sides of the transactions now with some leverage. So it's a good time to buy or sell still. Actually, I was listening to another podcaster the other day about talking about timing the market, like when's the best time to sell, when's the best time to buy, and the answer is when you need to. And really that's the truth. If you need to sell, now's the best time to sell, and if you need to buy, now's the best time to buy. So you got to do what you got to do. We
were talking about apartments earlier, and Charlotte, obviously the metro that gets ranked, right? From a metro perspective, they were number 6 city-wise, number 2 as far as new construction for apartments go. Kind of a double-edged sword. I would imagine in the market, people want to buy, but they necessarily can't right now, so they need to rent. Mm-hmm. But they want to rent somewhere affordable even when rentals need to be affordable, right, to a degree. Yeah. Do you have people that come along and say, hey, we really want to buy, but we're going to rent for right now? Is that a common conversation?
Well, there's a lot of people that are forced into that because of supply, but the rental supply is not great, especially way up north where we are. We've pushed off density so bad that we don't have a lot of rentals available, and so the price of what rentals we do have in our micro market up there is pretty high too. I was listening to your conversation about housing affordability, and one of the things what I try to track, or the point I try to make about housing, is that if you have to look at it as a commodity, it's subject to supply and demand like everything else. And if you shop, or if you think about development in terms of price per square foot, you can bring the pricing down with a lot more supply if you build dense, because you can get the price per square foot down to where you got workforce availability or affordability for common workers. And I make the comment all the time that those of us that have grown up in this economy here locally, especially in Statesville, we can't afford to buy the homes we live in. Like if we had to go back and rebuy the home we live in now, we couldn't buy it. And so the pricing has outpaced our incomes in those areas. So it's a tricky thing. But our political leaders over the past decades have pushed off densities to the point that we've created sprawl, and we've raised the price of housing. So we can't, the people that we want to work in our area can't afford to live in our area. So it's a complex issue. Fortunately, we get to replace 5 councilmen and a mayor this year, and I think that gives us a great opportunity to reshape the next couple decades.
Housing is arguably one of the most expensive things we as people will buy in our entire lifetimes. For most of us, right? The most expensive. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, because of the price conversation, when they're getting all excited, they're getting ready for their transaction, they focus just on the price. And the price is a factor. Don't get me wrong. That is a stepping stone to whether or not you can or cannot buy the house. But that's why we like to find brokers that actually care, and the team over at Centralina Realty. Because once you go under contract on a house, that's not where the work stops necessarily for your clients.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
What's that been like for you and your clients when you guys are working through what's called the due diligence process here in North Carolina in this current market?
Well, we have great relationships with vendors. So, home inspectors, and if you need work, septic guys, in our case, we do a lot of septic systems up there. So, having a plan for whatever goes wrong so that we don't linger on it, so we can, and we don't have a lot of problems. If you do your work up front, when you prepare the offer, say you're working for a buyer, that's when you're in that due diligence. If you do your homework on the property to begin with, then you can uncover most of those problems prior to making an offer on it, so you don't get surprised in due diligence. And that's kind of always our goal, is to do that.
And I imagine you're saying that because the standardized contract that most transactions are utilized in the residential space here in North Carolina is an as-is contract.
Exactly.
And so if you go into a transaction, what if someone comes along and says, Jay, you know what, let's just make them the offer and then we can renegotiate with them later. What do you say to a buyer that when you're working with them and they're saying that to you as part of their transaction?
I always say that I work for you, so I will honor your lawful orders. But if we do that, and I talk about the if-then conversation. So if we do that, then we could be in a problem down the road. So I will try to counsel them out of it, but ultimately it's their decision. So my job is to advise, not decide. And so I will advise them that, let's look at that crack foundation a little bit deeper before we get tied up in a contract. If I see a red flag, I want to call it out early. Because, as you say, it is an as-is, and no seller is obligated to make any repairs. They might. And back in, 21, 22, 23, along in there, you had buyers making crazy offers because it was just crazy. And they were buying houses as is that shouldn't have been bought as is. So it's a little more weight on the sellers now to have their houses ready. Mm-hmm. Sellers got to be a little more competitive now. They got to take a little more time, get it ready, polish it up a little better, So we're spending more time on the front end of our listings, getting them ready to sell now.
Managing expectations, that's a big thing. Communication's a big thing during a transaction too.
Everything.
What's it like when you're working, because you have a client, right? And some people have created to be more adversarial when it shouldn't be, right? You've come to a meeting of the terms between two parties. But what's it like communicating with the other side during a transaction? Do you have good relationships with them? Do you try to keep it smooth? Or is it all-out warfare?
Unfortunately, you can't always choose who's on the other side of that transaction. So you got to deal with whoever it is. Our side's always good. We have because I won't tolerate it. If I've had agents I didn't like and I got rid of them, so that everybody that's in our firm, I'm happy with them. I love them to death, and I got total confidence in them. I have a loyalty to my client, but as a realtor, I also have a loyalty to the transaction. And so the transaction has to be done correctly, and that's on both sides. So I have a certain loyalty to the transaction and even to the client that's on the other side of that transaction. If regardless of which side you're on, once you're under contract, especially, I think we have a certain obligation to the industry to make sure the transaction goes smoothly and ethically, and that things are communicated well.
It's a journey in real estate. I mean, you could be in one end of the spectrum. Again, you could be buying your first home, or you could have been a seasoned investor of 20 years. The team at Centralina Realty will take care of you. CentralinaRealty.com. We're talking with Jay White. Are you the BIC of Centralina Realty?
I'm the BIC and the QB and
Gosh, what's it like having all that power? You know what I mean? In an office, it's got to feel great, right?
Don't confuse responsibility with power. That's not. There's not a straight line across that to that. No, I enjoy being a BIC because I like mentoring and I like guiding, and so I like the fact that any of my agents can call me seasoned or beginners. It doesn't matter. And we just bat it around, and I help them come to whatever decision they need to come to. So, like I say, I don't have any agent that I worry about. I have no ethical problems.
A unique journey in the real estate game that some people decide to dive into: new construction, and it's seeming like that's becoming maybe more and more of a consideration for folks. As maybe you find that gem of a piece of land that you love, and then you want to go through that process of building and going through that journey. Do you work with clients that are on the new construction path as well?
A little bit, not a whole lot, honestly. We deal with some of the the big builders that are in town. We sell some of that new construction just because of supply. And from our perspective, it's a pretty easy transaction for us. We just sort of it's matchmaking, and then we're not as stuck in the due diligence. But we do it. But we don't honestly deal with enough new construction because there's not enough of the new construction going on. But we've been through several new construction projects. We match a buyer up with a good GC, and then they go happily ever after.
And it starts with a piece of land. I imagine land is probably a popular conversation.
Land's tough, yeah. Land's tough. It's hard to find, and everybody wants that 3 to 5 acres outside the city limits. The people that have the 3 to 5 acres, they want to keep that 3 to 5 acres.
It's so funny thinking back to pre-COVID, how it was definitely all moving toward more of the urbanized, right? Of everyone being together, really close, all of that, and then COVID happens, right? And then
everybody just moves out.
And even 5 years later now, do people still call you? Hey, I'm looking for that 3 to 5. That's the most. Is that a common request there on the land side?
All day long. Yeah, that's it. And where we are, I think we lend to that. I don't think the Charlotte agents probably deal with that as much as we do.
You find 3 to 5 acres in Charlotte now. Come on now.
3 to 5 square feet.
Jay White and the team at Centralina Realty, centralinarealty.com. Be sure no matter your journey in real estate, no matter what season you're in, you can trust Jay White and the team at Centralina Realty, centralinarealty.com. Thanks, Jay.
Pleasure to be here.